Good evening, everyone, and welcome along to League of Europe. We are here for Evaluation Race 1. It is pre-season, and we're taking the French Grand Prix from the circuit Paul Ricard. My name is James Head. I'm going to be taking to the stream, as always, on a Saturday night. Back for my 7th season. As I said last season, I think I'm becoming part of the furniture now in LOE. Hopefully you are all doing well, and hopefully you are liking the new setup that we have got in terms of the stream this season for Lobby 1 and indeed hopefully for Division 1 this season as well. We've got to talk about, though, obviously, what is going to be happening tonight for the French Grand Prix, the first of 2 evaluation races, as you saw with the thumbnail to the video. Mexico is going to come up in a week's time, but it is France this week, and still we're waiting, of course, on all 20 drivers to ready up. You can see who is on your screen in terms of who is going to be driving here tonight. Verstappen, Nico, Pease, Wouter, Nathan Gio, J. Cole, Resify, Connor, Gary, Lovell, Lol Vercar. Goodness me, that's a bit of a mouthful to say that one. Montana's returning to the racing with Isa, Jerome, Dylan, Tinio, Vettel, Commentalist, Rocco, Justas, and Doom. And, of course, me as your solo commentator tonight. It's weird, I normally have somebody alongside me, but unfortunately, you have got me for the next hour and a half or so, which I hope is not too bad. Hopefully, well, everything is going to go according to plan and everything is going to be covered live and exclusive here, of course, for the French Grand Prix. But shall we have a look at the track map in question for tonight? In Le Castellet course in France, 5.8 kilometres in length, 3.6 miles, 15 turns away to our drivers out on track. Of course, 2 DRS zones, 1 down the start for this straight, 1 down the Mistral straight in towards Le Chicane Nord at turns number 8 and 9. And that, of course, is pretty much the split halfway down the back straight with, of course, 15 turns. The pit entry has changed a little bit. The pit entry is a little bit sooner rather than later compared to the last game. And, of course, we'll be expecting lap times to be around 2 seconds, maybe a lap slower than what we saw on the F1 21 game. But that is the track map, of course. Hopefully you are going to be enjoying tonight's live stream, and let me know if everything is working according to plan on live stream. I apologise in advance if there is any lag in terms of streaming. Hopefully it should be alright tonight. I haven't got Discord on, just commentating through OBS tonight, and hopefully it is all going to go according to plan. Let me have a look then at the comments section and see how you guys are doing in the comments section. Jav is saying he's here for the co-coms NSX Montana. Maybe so. It is weird having my co-commentator, of course, trying to defend, well, not defend, retake his championship crown coming into this season, of course, Season 8 of LOE. We've got the calendar to run through later on as well. Of course, you guys might have already seen what is going to be happening in terms of the calendar, but if you've been living under a rock for the last few weeks or so and been living under a rock from our social races that we've hosted the last 2 weeks, I will run through the calendar towards the end of the stream. Looking at some of the comments coming through as well. Good evening to Alvaro. Good evening to Doom, saying he's 1 second off the pace. Hopefully that might quicken itself up, though, as we go in towards qualifying. I think we are now beginning to get going in terms of the lobby, and that means everyone is now ready up for the French Grand Prix. Of course, short qualifying, clear weather, no damage, and no formation lap, and no safety car is the order of the day, pretty much as is used to in these evaluations in LOE, and hopefully it is going to be really good to see out on track. Looking at some of the comments as well coming through, Montana saying, don't expect too much from me in pre-season, trying out some wicked setups. If he's 2 or 3 tenths clear the rest of the field, then we know the old Montana is back. I've been seeing them setting records the left, right and centre on this game. So perhaps the ABS merchant of LOE could perhaps try and show up everyone here tonight in the French Grand Prix. He's not going to take too kindly, I think, to that comment that I've just made there. But we are going to get going now in towards qualifying. As I say, 15 corners, 5.8 kilometres in length this circuit. Fantastic track, of course. Bit of an eyesore, as you can tell by some of the cameras that we are getting already. The blue and the red, obviously, depicting the French flag. And, of course, Paul Ricard is normally a testing track. Of course, came here in 2018 for the first Grand Prix in the new iteration of the French Grand Prix. And has since, of course, produced some relatively good races, can we say, in real life. But we'll have to see how everything is going to get on. Alvaro is saying he doesn't understand English, but I see the stream. Can't understand my English in the first place. I think in terms of my accent that we've got, the thick northern accent that we've got here, of course, in Division 1, as always, or in Lobby 1 here tonight. First cars, though, are coming out on track. Montana is one of the first coming out on track as well. I'm just going to get all the timings and everything up. I am running, by the way, OBS on an absolute minimal basis tonight in terms of no overlays, hardly any graphics as well. Got the track map in for the French Grand Prix, but apart from that, I haven't really got anything in terms of the graphics to show, so I'm just going to be showing you, obviously, capturing through my device. Jab is saying, how's your Spanish, James? Hola, ¿qué tal? Muy bien, gracias, y tú, centavos. That's about as much as Spanish I know, and that is pretty much, hello, good evening, hello, how are you? Good, sit down. That's all I know in terms of, oh, dos amigos, por favor. But there we go, that's my extent of my Spanish. French, of course, bienvenue, good evening, bonjour, yeah, you can tell I failed French and Spanish in school. Luckily, though, I don't need that here for tonight, which is really good indeed. No, I'm going to get a few comments out of that. And I was saying, yo no entiendo, pero te estoy viendo. Don't know what any of that means, but it's Spanish anyways, and I'm going to take that you're not, hopefully it's not a comment about me and that you're enjoying the stream so far here tonight. But we are 2 minutes into qualifying. Montana is the first man out on track, and we'll now see what he is going to do in terms of this lap. AlphaTauri, of course, changing their lineup and the overall livery, as many F1 teams have obviously had with the new cars. The new era of Formula 1 is going to begin, of course, here in LOE, and we're going to get going with Montana on the run down in towards turn number 1. As I say, should be averaging around 31s, 32s, I think, maybe in terms of the lap times that we're going to see tonight, but we'll see what Montana's going to do. It comes to the left of turn 1, to the right hand of turn number 2, and then on the run down and towards the left-handers of the right-hand turn 3, and then through the left-hander of turn 4. So we've got Gary Verstappen lights on that lap as well. 20 drivers, of course. It's going to be quite a close qualifying session, you would think. 22.4 in the first sector for Montana. I know we can go quicker than that through the first sectors, and that comes through turn 7, down the Mistral straight, in towards the chicane node, which of course is basically the northern chicane on the track. That's how it's translated to, of course, in English. Now Montana comes down in towards the chicane node at turns 8, and then through the right hand at turn number 9, and then an uphill run, even though there's not much track elevation change around here. On the run, up the hill, in towards turn number 10. And the second sector split is actually a little bit forward on this game. It's a 50 flat through the middle sector from Montana, so now it comes through the right hand of turn number 10, and then through this very tricky, nearly 180-degree corner of turn 11. Montana taking the wide out line, gets it dipped in very nicely indeed, looking very smart, I've got to say, through there, into the left-hander of turn number 12. And then in towards the final couple of corners at Lap and Pont at turn 14. This is turn 14 here. And then a Pont at turn number 15. Now that's pretty much a French Grand Prix lap already completed around here with Circuit Paul Ricard. Could be a 1:30 to begin off the night actually for Montana. On the run to the line and pull with the AlphaTauri man, and he goes, yeah, quickest, 30.2. And, in fact, Dylan goes quicker. 30 flat from Dylan. Not a bad lap time at all. Of course, struggled relatively last season. Is other Singaporean there going second, briefly, because Verstappen now jumps up into second. And Gary comes in with a 29.8. What is it tonight? Gary has suddenly popped up to the top step of the standing so far. It's only early on in qualifying, but it is Gary out on top. It's just us in second. Wouter now going third. Dylan there in fourth. Montana dropping down, maybe trying the wicked setups and everything. He's down in 8th position at the minute. Justas, the defending champ, of course, has gone second. J. Cole, another driver, of course. He's going to be doing Division 2 late, or Lobby 2 later on alongside Commentalist. As J. Cole now runs the line. And he pops himself ahead of Montana as well. 30.2, so he goes into 8th. Reservoir there on a outlap. Nathan, who is formerly Relentless Nathan. He left the team, of course, about a month ago, I think, now, Nathan. Now, of course, incorporating the George Russell in his name, one of his favourite F1 drivers. And on that lap, he didn't get a lap time in. And I think he's not going to go for another run either. He's just going to back off and maybe come back into the pit lane. NSX Connor, though, through the first sector, 22.222. All the twos for Connor as we now come into sector 2. On board with the McLaren man. Of course, he was up in the top 3 in the standings for a majority of last season. He finished 3rd in the end in the LOE Division 1 Championship last season. But it's Gary out on top, just our second. Rocco there in 3rd. Campbell, by the way, a big absentee in terms of this season or in terms of this lobby here tonight. I believe he's reserving as a reserve driver throughout this season. If I'm not mistaken, I'm sure he will confirm that in the comments section if needs be. Connor, though, coming in towards the right hand of turn number 10. And then through the right hand of turn 11 as we go on board with him now, and Connor looking pretty good. He's looking a lot quicker than what we saw with Montana through in the middle sector. He now comes through, trying obviously get the throttle down on the power, on the run now down in towards turn 13, and then through 14 of course at Lack, and then through turn 15 at Pond. Killer Blue was pulling the Discord. Stop the count. Justus has left the session, hopefully he can get back in. We've still got around about 2/3 of the qualifying session still to go. Connor loads the line. Nearly not stopping the count there. 29.9 from Connor, but it's Gary out on top. Connor second, Justus in third. And Gary, where on earth has his pace come from? Have we been living under a rock or in a coma the last month or so since the game has been out? Never really seen what Gary could do on this game, so it's a big shock to me. He's out there on top. From Connor there in second, Justus there in third. Campbell saying in the chat as well, he's racing full time. He's just watching competition tonight. Interesting. So I would expect then the next pre-season race in Mexico next week, we will see Campbell possibly among that field of 20 drivers. Montana saying who's driving for Gary tonight? Daniel Lapt, I think, in terms of that. But 7 minutes gone in qualifying. That is Gary out on top, Connor second, Justus in third. On board with Reservoir at this stage, the Mercedes man. Of course, these drivers, by the way, have chosen their free choice, basically, of car that was available to them. So this is not indicative of what they could be driving in real life for the actual season when that gets underway in around 2 weeks' time, of course, for the first Grand Prix of the season. But it's Gary out on top, Connor second, Justus in third, Rocco in fourth, Ruta in fifth. There's a little bit of a gap, actually, between fourth and fifth, around a 1/10.5 of a second at this point. Reservoir, though, is aiming to try and go in amongst, I would say, P's, Commentators, in amongst the relentless guys, to be honest, out on track. He's got Vettel and Lolvacar. That's going to be a real burden on me to try and pronounce. But Reservoir on the run towards the line. And he goes quickest. Wow! 29.7. Reservoir. Very good lap. I think I covered him as either in the WR or the PSGL social race. Now, I don't think he finished that day, but he looked quick in qualifying there. And now repeats the favour once again in the French Grand Prix social race, evaluation race here tonight. It's Reservoir out on top. Gary now down to second. The count has unfortunately been stopped for Gary. It's more than a 10-second count, I can tell you that as well. But it's Reservoir out on top, Gary in second. Connor there in third. More action, by the way, is happening right now. Lobby 3 and Lobby 4 also live if you do want to tune in for that. Jess and Evil, I believe, are doing F3 or Lobby 3 and F4. Can't remember the names off my top of my head, but F4, of course, you'll be Lobby 4. You'll be seeing, of course, that as Juma's gone for a spin. Already invalidated his lap coming through the first couple of corners, but Juma's spun. He has parked the Haas on the right-hand side there of turn number 5. Taneo, though, was on a lap. 50 flat in the middle sector. Respectful middle sector from the PTR man as the Aston Martin now comes down in towards the line. And it's a 30.5 and he goes 16th ahead of his teammate Vettel, who's also on a lap. In fact, he's just starting ahead of him on a lap at this stage. Reservoir obviously off a lap. Gary, though, let's see what he can try and respond with. On board with him, coming through, 200 up already in the first sector. Not purple out of everyone in the first sector, I don't think. But Gary certainly going through there. There's a Ferrari spun, I think, as well on an out. That lap might have been Ruta potentially on a lap there. Keys, I think, is coming through the final sector, but it is Reservoir out on top. Gary second, Connor in third. Gary coming through the chicane node, turns 8 and 9. And then on the run up the hill, very, very tricky run up the hill, by the way, in towards turn number 10. You've got to try and obviously get the apex of this quarter completely right. Otherwise, you're going to be messed up in terms of your next runs on your laps. You see now Gary coming in through the middle sector. And it was around the sort of time you'd be expecting these 1400s up in the middle sector. So now comes through in towards the final couple of corners. Dylan again improving, and Gary has gone for another spin. Gary has gone for a spin, luckily avoiding the wall there, but that's the Gary we know and love here in LOE. Reservoir out on top, it's still in there in second, Gary in third. But honestly, purpose on this game, absolutely deadly. Gary's just proven that absolutely finally, and he's into the pit lane and not completing his laps. That's unfortunately him done. Justus is also invalidated, I believe, on a lap as well. The defending champion, of course, of LOE Division 1. All went down to the Abu Dhabi Grand Prix, which was a little bit on the boring side, let's just say, for the season finale last season in Division 1. Biostas there in 5th, clearly showing the pace on the game. Rocco was 3/10 up though in the middle sector. He's invalidated, and he's actually going to go for another run, and he's another one that nearly spins. In fact, as Biostas has left the session once again. But Reservoir on top, Dylan second, Gary there in 3rd. What's Montana doing on a lap? He's a 10th and a half down through the first sector and a 10th down again in the middle sector. So Montana not really improving in terms of lap time. Maybe the final sector will try and obviously improve in this final sector. But with 6 minutes to go pretty much in this session, Reservoir on top, Dylan second, Gary there in 3rd, Connor in 4th, Justas in 5th, Rocco in 6th, and they're all covered by pretty much 2/10 per second. Reuter there 7th, Verstappen, Nico and Izza currently pulling out the top 10. Montana's coming through Lack and Pont at turn 14 and 15. As they now run to the line, or the AlphaTauri now runs to the line. Is he going to try and improve in this final sector? We'll see from the Swiss man. On the run to the line. He doesn't even improve. He's 3/10 off in the end from Montana. Maybe going for another run here. But with limited DRS, I think he's probably going to come back in the pit lane, you would expect. Commentated just came off the lap as well. I think he improved to 30.4, so not a bad lap from Commentated. Of course, my WR Tier 1 commentator for this season. And good to see him, of course, out on the track. Obviously, getting experience of tracks that we potentially could be doing in WR as well. So that's giving him a bit of experience of what the tracks might be like on this game. He's there in 15th at this stage. Nathan on the run to the line, and he gets a lap time in, 30.7 from Nathan. Jim is the only one not to set a lap time just in, and there, Connor goes to the top. 29.6 from Connor so far in the session, with 5.5 minutes to go. The Brits currently fill out the front two as Connor goes for a celebratory spin as he comes through the first couple of corners, but it is Conrad on top, Reservoir in second. Dylan there in 3rd. I think Girona's on a lap. No, he's actually coming back in the pit lane. Nico and Verstappen. Verstappen is coming on to a lap, though. Kvyat, of course, only represented by 2 drivers here tonight. Of course, Campbell's going to be racing potentially next week. Verstappen, his teammate last season. Of course, Constructors Champions last season as well. Verstappen, though, on the run through turns 1 and 2, in towards turn number 3 and 4. And obviously got to get these corners absolutely spot on in this first sector, because you obviously got to try and back up in towards this first sector split. 22.281, it's not too bad. He runs quite slightly coming through turn 6, then through turn 7, and on the run down the stretch. Connor though out on top from Reservoir second, Dylan in 3rd. Less than 5 minutes to go now in qualifying here for LOE Lobby 1. As I've already alluded to, you can watch Lobby 3 and Lobby 4 at the same time as we are. If not, though, and you want to stay on board with us, you can. You can stay on board with this lap of Verstappen. 50 flat in the middle sector. As he now comes through in towards the final couple of corners in this final sector. Coming through turn 11 now. And of course, in terms of last season, by the way, I'm just trying to get up on my iPad about what happened around here in France last season. Verstappen was, I think, up there in terms of France last season. Well, France wasn't even on. Oh no, France was on. Connor won, Justas second, Campbell in 3rd last season around here in terms of the actual result. Staffen, who we're on board with at the minute, only picked up a handful of points, only picked up a 10th place finish and comes to the line. That's more like it from Verstappen, improves 2.5 tenths per second and goes into 5th. And I'm sure we'll see more improvements as we go through the session. Reservoir was a 22 flat in the first sector, so that wasn't too bad at all. He has invalidated, obviously, on his lap. Lolvacar on a lap as well. J. Cole is just preparing. I think he's actually behind him, I believe, out on track. So Lolvacar is the next one to set onto a lap. Possibly got 2 runs, the PTR man. 30.5 at his stage. I believe Lolvacar's actual debut in LOE at all this season. Not sure if he was a Division 2 driver last season. But Lolvacar, certainly, the PTR man, has got a very good chance of potentially moving up the order, potentially ahead of the likes of Pease. Montana down in 13th position, by the way. How the Brave have potentially fallen so far in this lobby. But it's Conrad on top, Reservoir second, Dylan in 3rd, 2.5 minutes to go in qualifying. And yeah, Wolvercar wasn't in Division 1 last season. Vettel as well, Teneo, new drivers as well, obviously being tested their mettle. A few Division 2 drivers would like to comment. Plus, of course, like of Doom, who was a Division 2 driver last season, now part of part of Lobby 1, not part of Division 1, obviously, as we go. Campbell saying as well, this order looks so cursed. Montana saying as well, his setup sucks. Maybe he goes on to the better setup, and maybe now goes pole position for about 2.5 tenths per second. We're expecting that. Wolvercar though onto the lap. On board with the Williams man on the run down in towards turn number 1. He's got a little bit of traffic, I believe, coming out pit lane there. I believe it is it's a Ferrari, I think, on the right-hand side there. And Wolvercar now comes through. In towards turn 3, through the left-hand return 4. Reservoir is retired from the session, as is Verstappen. Both, I think, in the pit lane have retired. Everyone else on an out lap or on a lap like Vettel and Jekyll have just got onto laps. Wolvercar through the first sector, well, not too bad in the first sector split. As he now comes up the hill, in towards turn number 8 and 9. Of course, the chicane north that he is approaching right now. Connor though out on top, Reservoir second, Dylan in third. And I come through on board with the Wolvercar. Up the hill now in towards turn number 10. We're going to get a really good run up this hill. 49.9 in the middle sector. 2 tenths up in the middle sector. Potentially not the fastest that we've seen so far in this session, but still good nonetheless from Wolvercar. So now comes through in towards the final couple of corners, potentially going to go ahead. The likes of your own, Jekyll, Montana, he'll be aiming to go around that 3/10 mark. If he improves 3 tenths per second, he's going behind Montana at this stage in this qualifying session with only 50 seconds to go on the countdown clock in qualifying. As Wolvercar now comes through the final couple of corners, we've got the likes of commentators on a lap now, the likes of Vettel, the likes of Doom, as we've already alluded to. Gary also on a lap, we'll go on board with him shortly, but Wolvercar on the run towards the line. Big improvement in the end, goes 11th, ahead of your own, so exactly where I expect him to go, he has gone. 11th position, big improvement, more potentially still to come in this session. Rocco was up 22.2 in the first sector, and he was looking good, obviously, through his first sector on his invalidated lap last time. So we're going forward with the Mercedes, potentially more improvements to come as we go through. Of course, I haven't got a co-commentator alongside me tonight, so it's only me following the action. Could get a little bit tricky in the final 30 seconds of qualifying here. Rocco again, a 10.5 up in the middle sector. The Brit, the Southwesterner, now comes through in towards turn 11. As Gary goes second, 29.7, just about gets a time for another run if he decides to. I don't think he will, though. Connor, though, 29.6 out on top. Gary second, Reservoir in third. Dylan, Jake, all your top 5 at this stage. As now Rocco comes in towards the final couple of corners. Seeing improvement. Commentalist has gone 11th. Not a bad lap from him, 30.1. Rocco now in towards the final couple of corners. Potentially going to put it up there. Maybe for a chance of challenging pole position here. As Rocco now on the run towards the line. 29.6 to beat. Rocco to the line. Doesn't beat it. 29.8 he goes into 4th position. But for how long? Because Dylan on a lap, 49.7 in the middle sector, so he's 2 tenths up on what Rocco has just done. Gary, as I alluded to, is not on a lap. Connor is not on a lap either, I believe. He's 10.5 down in the middle sector, so it's all up to the Dutchman. Dylan potentially on for first pole position, potentially on this game. Nico goes second. Really good lap time from Nico, coming out of absolutely nowhere. Dylan though through the final couple of corners. Now going to pull it all on the line. On the run towards the line now with Dylan. 29.6 to beat. Can Dylan do it on the run to the line? No, he can't. 29.7, and he puts him 1,000th of a second behind Nico, who in turn has gone behind Ruta, who goes second as well. Jekyll not on a lap. Justas is on a lap. He's only 600s up though. What can the Lithuanian defending champion do? Coming around the final corner now. As he runs toward the line, Nathan has retired from the session. Justas the line, goes quickest, 29.627. Vettel's the only one on a lap, but he's invalidated. That is the end of qualifying in Lobby 1. And it is Justas out on top by 700ths of a second ahead of Connor in second. Oh, how that battle could come to play indeed. And Ruta there in third. Very good qualifying session. Look at that. Division 1 likes to obviously bring me the action. The top 17 are covered by 6 tenths of a second. That is unbelievable. Run through the full grid order in just a second. And it is Justas out on top by 600ths of a second in the end, from Connor there in second. Ruta there in third, from Nico the Spaniard there in fourth. Dylan the Dutchman in fifth. The Irishman of Gary in sixth. Reservoir there in seventh. Rocco the Brit in eighth, along with J. Cole in ninth. And Verstappen ran off the top 10. P's in 11th. Montana did improve on his lap, 29.9 though from him, the Swiss man, the former champion, in 12th and starting ahead, 0.2 of a second ahead of commentators there in 13th. Izza in 14th, only 0.02 of a second off. Apparently he's Cameroonian or Senegalese, he's not, he's Singaporean. Lovacar there in 15th, the Spaniard. Vettel there in 16th, Yaron in 17th, Taneo 18th, Juman 19th, and Nathan, normally quick around this track, is right down at the back of the field. Very, very good stuff indeed. Jav saying in the comment section as well, 6 Division 1, 3 Division 2, 1 Division 4 in the top 10. What am I seeing? You're seeing a changing of the guard in LOE Division 1, my friend, and hopefully it is for the better, because that was a very close qualifying session. Now we go into the race. Apologies about any little glitches, the visual glitches that we're getting there on stream. That is not to do with OBS, that is unfortunately to do with the game, and that is, I think, a bug that is going to be fixed in the not too distant future. But let me know now in the comment section while we wait, of course, to go into qualifying. Let's have a look once again though at the track map in question. 5.8 kilometers in length, 3.6 miles, 15 turns away to our drivers out on track. You've already seen it in qualifying, but not much elevation change, only up towards turn 10, 11 and 12. That's the biggest point on the track really. 2 DRS zones, plenty of overtaking opportunities. The likes of turn 15 potentially could be an opportunity. Turn 1, turn 3 as well, and then on the run up towards turns 8 and 9 at the chicane node as well. And that is the rundown once again of the track. Now we'll cut back into the on-track action and the formation that is about to begin. Of course, we're on immersive for the formation lap. That means drivers could potentially mess up their formation lap. And of course, if you're not familiar with Formula 1 this season in real life, every single driver now gets a choice, free choice of tyre. And as you can tell, Justas, who qualified in softs, now starts on a set of medium compounded tyres. Campbell in the comment section just thought it'd be interesting to see who doesn't start on hards. Well, there's Yancy, Justas, Montana, and Taneo, the only 3 starting on a set of medium compounded tyres. That basically means they're going to go middle of the road on those tyres. I would say, honestly, to about lap 14 or lap 15, just after halfway stage, I think the drivers will decide to pit in. But mediums can last. I've seen 18, 19 laps before. So Justas, they're all good as Justas now takes out the marker boards, which is not that great for everyone else in behind him. Justas, though, will have the advantage off the line. If he's not a second clear at the end of lap 1, Connor will stick to him literally like super glue on the back, on the rear wing of that AlphaTauri in front of him. But Justas has got that big advantage in terms of the medium compounded tyres at this stage. Connor there in second will just be aiming to try and stay within slipstream range and try and stay within DRS range, I think, around this track. Ruta there in third. Again, a driver that's got really nothing to lose at the start. Nico can try and take it a little bit cautious. And then, of course, we've got the old Division 1 guard, like the likes of Rocco, Verstappen, Montana down there, 8th, 10th and 12th respectively. They are going to be struggling. Montana potentially going to carve his way through the field, and I wouldn't be surprised by the end of the stint if he's around 3rd, 4th, 5th position off the end of his medium stint. But it all depends on how these tyres obviously come into play, and obviously when drivers make their pit stops as well, that is going to be absolutely key, because it takes a good half a lap, maybe even 3/4 of a lap around here to warm up the tyres. But let me know in the comment section who your top 3 is. I will read them out as we go through now onto the starting grid. And of course, these drivers have to get it absolutely spot on. Unless you're Justas, who pulls right up to his pit marker board there. And everyone else is going through fine. And hopefully we can get a better camera angle than what we're going to be getting off this one. It is Justas out on top, Connor in second, Ruta and Nico 3rd and 4th. Who is going to lead possibly down in towards turn 1? Jav saying top 3 is not changing. Justas, Connor and Ruta then for the top 3 for Jav. Wouldn't be surprised if they are. But the 5 red lights now going out here in France for evaluation race number 1. And it is Light end, away we go, and Justas gets a very good start. Connor spawns off the start well, and he gets a good second launch, and now is on the back of him, running down in towards turn number 1. He pulls the outside line in towards turn number 1. A bit of lag from Justas there, and I think Connor realised that as he leads through turn 1. Justas leads from Connor in second, Muta there in third. There's 3 wide in the background, there's a spinner in the background as well, and that is Gary that is round. So Gary has already spun through turn number 1. Rocco is going side by side as well with Nico, going right around the outside. Of course, no damage on here tonight. It's clear weather as well, so no chance of rain. There's Peas and Montana, 8th and 9th. Montana trying to go all the way around the outside of Jacob. This would be a great move if he can pull it off, and I think he has. Onto the Mistral straight we go. Justas holds the lead, the defending champion. From Connor in second, Rita there in third, Dylan in fourth. Reservoir has lost a few positions off the start as well. He's down in 5th position off the start. Rocco there in 6th, Montana lunge it down the inside line. The Spaniard, they get chopped on each other. The Alpha Male hangs on the inside line, and that's Nico and Peas potentially now through for both positions. Peas and thank you there for the Ferrari man. He's fighting now with Montana on the run up in towards turn number 10 through the flat right hander of turn 10, and now in towards the right hander of turn 11. Montana still side by side with Peas. Surely Mediums is going to come out here on top as he tries to go all the way around the outside. Peas is still there though, the relentless man. And Montana gets the position in towards turn 12. Nice battling that between them both, even though they force each other out slightly. Montana and Peas, 7th and 8th position. Good start though from Justas. He leads the way already by a second. As I alluded to, if he got a second start, he would be ahead of him by a second coming onto the second lap, and that's exactly what he is. 8 tenths clear. He's got to now use a bit of EOS down the straight to try and catch. Wooter in third, Dylan in fourth, Reservoir, Rocco in sixth. There's fighting further down the field. Verstappen around the outside goes Vettel. Brilliant move by the PTR man. Verstappen caught completely flat-footed, almost as if he didn't put his foot in on the exit of the corner, and Vettel's just gone clean sailing around the outside of turn 1. Nice move that by Vettel, and he's still needs into 12th. Verstappen though, on the back of him, potentially is going to try and get this move done. Teneo's also made a couple of positions off the start. He's had a commentator who's lost a few. And June, who has gained a few as well off the start. In fact, we'll have a look at the position changes here. Justas has not gained anything, as well as Connor and Wooter. Still side-by-side action, a little overcar on the back of Teneo. Quite close enough there. Most positions gained though. Now man, Montana, 5 positions gained for him. Possibly going to get 6 because Rocco is in maybe his sights. As Reservoir is in the sights of actually Dylan, and Dylan in 4th, coming in the fresh from the Relentless fan. Oh, how would I like to see an Excel and Relentless battle already in Lobby 1. But Justas leading the way from Connor there in 2nd, Muta there in 3rd. Jav saying, is that the actual Vettel in the Aston? I think it is, potentially. He's there in 12th position, doing a good job, and he's ahead of Verstappen as a result of that move. But potentially the moves are going to come from 4th, 5th downwards, I would imagine. Because obviously everyone has had a slipstream range just ahead. Justas sets the new fast start the race. 33.1, pulling away. He's only getting a 10th actually on that lap. US now enabled though on this one. And Commentatus has gone through on the Volvo car on the run down and towards turn number 1. Aston Martin, the Alpine I should say, down the inside line on your own. Absolute centred on June as well, just in the background of shot. 17th and 18th. And the Spaniard is through in, the Dutchman is through on the Spaniard, and he's through and he's into 17th position. Justas though out on top from Connor there in 2nd, Wooter there in 3rd. At a slipstream range currently Connor. Reservoir on the back of him though. If you can hear a little bit of a blur in the background, by the way, I've just got a fan on. It's getting very sweaty in this commentary box right now. And also Montana's going to make that move for 6th as well on Rocco. Both of them don't really like each other, to be honest, in terms of their battles in the past. Montana there in 6th, and then Rocco there in 7th position. But Justas leading the way from Connor in 2nd, Wooter in 3rd, Reservoir in 4th, Dylan in 5th, Montana now in 6th. Further down the field though, Izza right on the back of Nico. These two had a good battle, I think, a couple of seasons back when they were in the same division. Nico, of course, in 10th position. Qualified very well, actually, Nico, compared to what I was expecting him to. He's there in 10th position. The Singaporean, though, of Izza in 11th. Not the Indonesian, as I called him from the majority of last season, and then realised about 2 or 3 races from the end of the season. But he was actually a different flag. Or had a different flag in his nationality. But still, he's in 11th position. Vettel there in 12th. Teneo there in 13th. Nothing really happening down in towards turn number 1 onto lap 4 we go. But just us out on top. from Connor in second, Rooter there in third, Reservoir and Dylan fourth and fifth, and potentially, oh, is that Pease has ran wide there, just in the background of the shot. Not sure if that was a mistake. Unintended, I think, from Pease. Is there in 8th position for now. That's coming through the next couple of corners, through the right of turn 6, to the left of turn 7. Montana now aiming at Dylan. Dylan in turn, aiming at Reservoir. But look at the speed of Montana. Absolutely sails on by Dylan. He's not even there, the Dutchman. The Swiss man through and he's into 5th. That might have been the easiest move I've ever seen on the game so far. Montana through and he's into 5th. Dylan into 6th. And Montana has literally just made Dylan look like an absolute mug there as Nico, the Spaniard, has spun, coming through the chicane north at turns 8 and 9, and Montana now forces the inside line and Reservoir in towards Oars. Reservoir's left the session at the worst point. He was going to get overtaken, I think, anyways. Montana through and he's into 4th. Reservoir's left the session there in 5th, and he's now going to drop down the field. Dylan is going to inherit that position. He will go up into 5th position as a result as well. And he does indeed do that and go up into 5th. Yosaslo leading the way at the end of lap 4 from Connor in second. 1.5 seconds currently the gap between them both. And that means Connor has actually got very, very good pace potentially on those hards compared to Yosas on those mediums. He's only getting away around 2 or 3 tenths a lap at this stage. And that will be good news obviously to Connor. He's there in second. There's the McLaren there. He's got 20% of EOS at this stage. Yosas on exactly the same. And Connor, at this moment in time, he's only 1.6 seconds off. That might not seem like much around this track. And trust me, it isn't. It really is not that much in terms of the on-track action, as Reservoir is losing now the positions further down the field. Hopefully he can rejoin back, though. Saying that, he's just rejoined back. So Reservoir is back in the session. Dylan potentially now on the back of Montana. Don't think he's going to get the move done. In fact, I think we're not going to get any moves further down the field, apart from this one. Nathan and June, 18th and 19th. They've got Nico just in behind after that spin. Now June the Spaniard on the bricks, running now down in towards the chicane north. This should be easy for June. Assman on the inside line. Should try and defend off Nathan. So Nathan comes back at him, the Alpine. With Nico right involved in this as well. Nathan a little bit sketchy coming out of turn number 10, and June, Nico is going to get the run on June potentially in towards turn 10 and turn 11. Biasas leading the way. Connor in second, Marita there in third. Still on board with Nico. Goes to the inside line on June. June forced out to the outside line. Outside line is the one to be on though for this corner. Through turn 11. Then through turn number 12. He's on the inside line as Rocker was spun on the curb, I think, coming through turn number 12. So Rocker was spun and Nico was through on June. Nice move that by Nico. He's through and he's into 18th. Outskills his fellow Spaniard. Nathan there in the background, fighting for the wooden spoon at this stage. But of course, no damage and everything is going to give a big incentive for all of these guys to obviously have a fight. And speaking of fighting, the next battle we'll focus on is J. Cullen Pease. 6th and 7th position. Dropped off quite a lot, in fact, in terms of the move. Montana up to 4th, obviously ahead of Dylan. But then the gaps now beginning to spread out quite substantially. J. Cole is losing a lot of time to Dylan. Maybe that is Division 1 over Division 2 pace coming into play there. Maybe it's to do with the tyres. But at this stage, Pease, who you'd think would be the quicker man on paper, is having a bit of hard work to try and even get to J. Cole. He's got 35% of EOS left. EOS, by the way, if you're new to Formula 1, is that little thing on the bottom. I wish I could point to it. I don't have my camera on at this stage. But 38% of EOS, it's basically the little figure on the left-hand side where the battery bar is. That's the EOS. Basically, when you run at flat-out speeds like this, you're going to be wasting away energy. When you conserve the energy, though, as we are now into the braking zone of turn 10 and 11, that is where you obviously gain that energy back. And that can give you 20 mile an hour extra in terms of power. Probably down the straight, I would think, around this track. But it can give a big advantage in terms of the racing and in terms of potential overtaking. As we see, overtakes Lulbacar ahead of commentated. Then he's into 13th, Lulbacar. Impressive, I've got to say, on his debut so far. Your own just in the back of commentated there as well. 14th and 15th position for the guys in front, or in that battle. Connor, though, on Ruta, 2nd and 3rd position. Unless I hold competitors again, Connor's only losing around 2 or 3 tenths a lap, if that, to be honest, at this stage. We're on lap 7 now, And there are penalties being picked up, by the way. Nathan's just picked up another. He's on 6. Izza on 3. That's the only penalty rundown that I'm giving you so far. But Justas leading the way from Connor in second. Move to there in third. He's not close enough to obviously get the move down in towards the chicane order at turns 8 and 9. But doing a good job at this stage again. Pease trying to hunt down Jekyll. Not going to get the move done from that far back, my friend. I think everyone's just going to run on a big old DRS train, perhaps, until the second part of this race. There's a fire as well, trying to hunt on the back of this battle for 6th, 7th, and 8th. Taneo, being impressed by his position gains so far, we'll have another look at the position gains. He's gained 8 now. He's gained, along with Montana, the most positions down on track, and that's because they started on that set of medium compound tyres. Now, if their tyre wear is quite heavy, they're going to struggle on those tyres to even get past the halfway stage, and they will be forced to commit on trusted hard compound tyres. I think, though, on this game, potentially a little bit more forgiving, the tyre wear around this track. Around 4 or 5% on a set of medium compound tyres, a bit more than that on a set of softs. We will see majority of drivers going on to, I think, at the end of this race. The commentator on the back of the Wolvercar, trying an action. Maybe attack him down in towards turn number 1. 13th and 14th, maybe unlucky for some. Not unlucky for Wolvercar at this stage, though. He's doing a good job in 13th position. Again, he's looking like he's got pace over Commentator's. Commentator's just happy, sitting there, doing his own thing in 14th, as is the majority of the field, to be honest, out on track at this stage. Battle for 6th and 7th, though. Perhaps it is going to heat up finally through turn 6 and 7. He's within 5 tenths per second now on Jekyll. Uses up now the deployment. Gives up the DRS. He's going to try now. Throws in all the way down towards the chicane node. Somebody that is those Taneo on the back of Izza. Don't think there's going to be any move there from Pease. There is not. And Taneo on the back. Oh, fights a snap of oversteer coming through the middle of the corner. And again through turn number 10. That might be a sign of his tyres beginning to go. As the PTR man, his fellow Aston Martin, is now right on the back of him. Pretty much underneath that rear wing as we come now through turn 10. Then up the hill once again in towards turn 11, then down slightly through the right hand of turn 11. But Justas leading the way. Connor there in second, Ruta in third. If you're enjoying the stream, by the way, like, comment, subscribe, click that notification bell, of course, if you are brand new to LOE Lobby 1 and indeed to LOE in general. You can see 16 of you are tuning in, which is not too bad for the first stream. Perhaps we can go a little bit higher than that, though, for next week. Lobby 3 and Lobby 4, by the way, are also live at this stage, so if you do want to try and mix up the action, you can do. Although, if you do want to see potential battles here in Lobby 1, you're going to see that in the shape of Vettel and Taneo and Pease and Jekyll. I think, well, immediately, it's going to be this battle for 6 that is going to get going out on track. You're starting leading the way, though. Gap is now a second and a half. Maybe Justas made a mistake in the first sector somewhere. That gap was 2 seconds coming through the final corner last time around. Now a third of the way through the race as well. He's a lot closer this time to Jekyll, but not using up any EOS, and that is bad news for him, because he's not going to get close enough to get an attempt a move down in towards turn number 8 and 9. Oh, as that Dylan goes for half spin just in front. Dylan just recovering that car, and I think he's going to be under pressure and under attack there from Jekyll. Up the hill in towards turn number 10. We'll take this from Pease's perspective. Up in towards turn 10. Jekyll gets that free position over Dylan, and I think Pease is going to join in the fight as well. XL Man takes over XL Man, but the Relentless Clan are in the mix. Pease and Reservoir 7th and 8th, along with Izza, of course, there in 9th, the Singaporean, doing a good job and managing those tyres very well, as Nathan really struggled in terms of the pace tonight. Another 3-second penalty. He's now on 9 seconds worth of penalties out on track. Pease, though, trying to appease Dylan for 6th position. And on the run down and towards turn number 1. I don't think he's got the legs in the Ferrari to try and go for the move. Somebody that I like, there was Izza on the back of Reservoir. In towards turn number 1 again. Not quite close enough for the move. As Justas still leading the way from Connor in second. Rita there in third, and Dylan drops behind Reservoir now, so another mistake by Dylan out of turn number 1. Now costs him another position, and look at Taneo down the inside line of Izza as well. This is all going to get quite spicy immediately. So we now come through The next couple of corners in this middle sector, Vettel's right on the back of Teneo. Aston versus Aston, running down in towards turn number 8, and Teneo lets him go, and he's got to defend off Verstappen, because here comes Verstappen on the outside line, into turn 8 and 9, round the outside. This will be brilliant if he can try and pull off the move, and he does. Little bit of fighting, a little bit of aggressive defending there, maybe from Teneo. Vettel though through is into 10th, Verstappen through, he's into 11th, and all the cars now going side by side with Teneo as well. Commentated is joining in the mix. Commentated is live, by the way, in terms of his POV. I don't know what this is going to be like from his POV, but he's now going to try and thread the eye of the needle through the middle of them both. The Williams blocks the inside line, and all the cars ahead of Teneo. Nice battle that between them both. And Commentated is now going to come back at him in towards turn number 12 as Justas pits from the lead. Justas pits and gets a 5-second penalty for speeding into the pit lane. Commentated though cannot find a way through in Teneo, and Teneo's into the pit lane as well, but Montana's the only one on a set of mediums that continues on. Teneo picks up a 5-second penalty as well. So that now gives Connor the advantage out in front. From Ruta in 2nd, Montana in 3rd, Jekyll 4th, Piesler in 5th. Vesify in 6th, Dunn in 7th, Izzer in 8th, Vettel in 9th, Verstappen now 10th. Lolvacar, Commentated, Fiorone, Gary, Rocco top 15, Nico, Jim and Nathan are the only ones still continuing on. Who haven't pitted because these two, Justas out of the pit lane. Not 600 of a second, unfortunately, the gap. That will fix itself, I'm sure. And these guys, of course, these guys on a set of hards are going to be gaining time rather than losing time around this track. Once Justas done that set of hards, it's going to be quite easy for him. Montana, though, is now the man to watch out for. On those set of mediums, how much is he held back in terms of being held up in terms of potential battles? How much is he being held? Did he get held up, and how much now has he got the pace to try and show what he is made of in this race? He's again on the back of Jekyll, Ferrari against the Red Bull. We've seen this many times in real life in terms of the battling. Campbell saying as well, just those 5 seconds was from a track limit bug when entering the pit lane and not speeding. I think that probably would have been the same for Teneo as well, and to get loads of 5-second penalties, everyone's going to pick up, literally as I say that, Montana's just picked up one as well. And I think it's because they count, I'm just coming on board with this bug, I think it might be because it counts the safety car line, or maybe the first line coming into the pit lane as the limiter line, and that's why the penalty gets picked up. It's weird. It's really, really strange. Codemasters, of course, is going to have a look into that. And EA, of course, I've got to actually be rather grateful for EA, because I've seen the recent forum posts that they've done, and I'm not sure if you guys have seen this in the chat, but the latest patch updates are going to be coming probably, I would say, weekly, maybe fortnightly, but they are taking into consideration bugs that are reported by the community, and that is what I like to see. That is more transparency, I think, between league racers, between normal multiplayer gamers like us, and also the community that they have over in EA, and I think I've got to commend them for it. It's really good, and hopefully all of the bugs are fixed, and that means multiplayer will be the best on record. But we're a long way away from that, I'm afraid, here in LOE so far. Connor leads the way, though, Root 2nd, J. Cullen 3rd. Montana, by the way, did come in the pit lane. He's ahead of Teneo, and around 5 seconds behind Justas coming out the pit lane. But Vettel, 8th position, big old DRS train in terms of the battling here. Teneo, by the way, obviously picked up that 5-second penalty for speeding in the pit. I believe Montana also did, and I think he served that up in the pit lane, if I'm not mistaken. He must have done. Yeah, Montana served that up in the pit lane. Didn't do for anyone else, as we see pit stops from a set of hard runners, Verstappen, Rocco, both into the pit lane. But yeah, June pitting already as well. Very interesting. Yeah, he goes for a set of mediums. Didn't notice that actually. Thanks, Jeff. Verstappen and Nathan into the pit lane, going on a set of mediums. Way too early, surely. Some drivers might go set of softs. They might commit to a set of softs, but they're going mediums, and they're going to take a good half a lap, maybe 3/4 of a lap to even get up to temperature. So these guys are going to struggle. There's a yellow flag in sector 1. I think that's Nico that was shortly round. Boot turn number 1. Got the car back going in the facing the right direction, and Nico there in 14th. But Verstappen, fresh out of the pit lane. This is what we're going to talk about. Teneo's on a set of hards. Rocco on that set of mediums, it's going to be literally like driving on Bambi on ice at this stage. And look at Teneo, it's all over the back of him. He's got so much pace. Now we just need to counteract on that pace and get this move done. Because these guys on set of mediums, more chance that Teneo's got now to overtake, the better it will be for him. He will have this position over Rocco. Running down the Mistral straight, it's going to be easy for Teneo. And the PTR man has through and he's into 18th. And that is what happens there, as Reservoir has gone for a spin as well. That's coming through the final sector at turn 11. So Reservoir ran through turn 11, but focusing further down the field. Rocco's now got those tyres back up to temperature. And that means Teneo, they're in 18th position. J. Cole's picking the penalty now. 5 seconds speed and spectating. Dylan was fine. He was within the white lines. And they're all going to the mediums. It's a very interesting call. If I was the drivers, I'd be going 20 laps at a set of hards, spinning for a set of softs. Not sure if that's smart considering I'm on pad, but still. Dylan in for a set of mediums. J. Cole also in, and Nico also in for a set of medium compound tyres as well after that spin once again. But that now gives, where is Justas coming out? Justas is coming out well ahead of these guys. Dylan wasn't really in the mix with Justas. But I think Dylan is going to be side by side, maybe with Montana here, coming out the pit lane. Eventually will be side by side between these two, but look at how much pace Montana's got compared to Justas. Sorry, compared to Dylan. And Dylan now is all under pressure from Montana. This is into turn 3. Easy. Montana through and he's into 13th. And now could potentially gain a second on Dylan. Dylan doesn't want those temperatures. Oh, as Montana has a snap of oversteer coming out of turn 6. Or turn 5 that was. There through turn 6 and 7. Dylan has got to stay within the second. Got to stay within the second. Otherwise, he's going to be pretty much under pressure for Montana from the rest of this lap to try and gap him for a second. Connor leading the way though. Rita in second. He's in third. Hopefully you're doing well. We're halfway through now in the Grand Prix here in France. And Connor doing a good job. Britt leading the Dutchman in first and second. He's there in third. Izzo in fourth. Vettel there in fifth. Everyone is staying out a few more laps, I think. Apart from this Red Bull here. Gary into the pit lane. Pretty good qualifying session from Gary, obviously. He's into the pit lane. Had that early spin. Right, drop down to the back of the field. And potentially he's going to be dropping down. Maybe behind the likes of Teneo, J. Cole, Doom. Around that sort of area, I think. Oh, apologies, my voice is going slightly. Just have to clear it for a second there. Gary on the back of, I think he'll be maybe close to Rocco and Teneo coming out the pit lane. There's Dylan. There's Montana coming out the pit lane. And Gary's all the way behind these guys. And he's ahead of Rocco, in fact. So he's ahead of Rocco. But as we've seen so many times, Rocco now is going to get the move potentially on Gary, and Gary's not going to give him an inch of room here down in towards turn number 3. We're on the brakes, Rocco through and he's into 15th. And that is potentially for net P5 in this race if these guys continue on that sort of hard at this track. Jav saying, did I snort? No, I was cleaning my throat unfortunately. I don't know what's wrong with it. But had to do something. I couldn't, well, I can mute my mic on OBS, and I think in future I will probably do. But Connor leading the way. Wheater in second. P's in third. There's a fourth. Vettel there in fifth. And everyone's staying out except from Connor, who's in. He picks up a 5-second penalty. Connor in. 5-second penalty into the pit lane. Campbell saying as well in the chat that optimal lap seems 15 or 16, so it's a touch too early, but not that extreme. And Connor goes set of mediums. Medium compound tyres on. Reservoir also in the pits. Izza also in the pits. As Connor now runs down the pit lane, he's going to be well ahead of Justas coming out the pit lane here. Well ahead. Connor has absolutely mastered that set of hard compound tyres. And look at how far clear he is compared to Justas. Justas in the back of shot there. 5 seconds down on him coming out the pit lane. Phenomenal work by Connor. Brilliant, brilliant. And it's all down to strategy in the end. Izza is at the pit lane and he's ahead of Rocco coming out the pits. So it seems like going further into the race and that sort of hard compound tyres is absolutely crucial to your chances later on in the race. Etheridge, Luke Etheridge in the comment section. Good evening to you, my friend. Good evening to Funky Chicken, who was tuning in as well. Hopefully you are all doing well on this fine Saturday night. Bit sultry as well in the country box up north here. As Verstappen on the back of Montana will try and get the move done. But Rocco Centres fresh blood on Izza. Down in towards turn 8 and 9 at the chicane Nord. And Rocco, I think, is going to get the move done. Gary perhaps is going to try and follow through here on Izza as well. Back up slightly. Jacob could perhaps come in the mix as well. Wuta leading the way, still yet to come into the pit lane. Justov's had to serve a 5-second penalty. Yeah, Justov did have to serve that 5-second penalty. 4.5 seconds down. Would have been 5 cents ahead of him potentially. But when it's on the fresher tyres, I think that gap is just going to extend. Luke's saying as well in the chat, tyre warm-up on the hards is dreadful at a few tracks on this as well. Yeah, definitely. The hards seem to actually work. If you started on a set of hards, they immediately come online, I think, in terms of the temperature. All of these guys now, they'll go in a set of mediums. It will take a good half a lap, 3/4 of a lap for them to actually get up to temperature and to get up to around 100%. Jow also in the comments section. That's a name from the past in LOE. He's here, and cars look good from the outside. Definitely, as we get side-by-side action coming out the pit lane between Jekyll and Jeroen. Jeroen is fresh out the pits, and Taneo on that set of hards is right on the back of him. Nico, new fast start the race, 32.9 from the Alfa Romeo man. But it's Vettel leading the way. Lulvacar in second. Those two are still yet to come in the pit lane. Everyone else has either a set of hards, or, if you're in the majority of the field, on a set of medium compound tyres. Where's the next battle going to come from? I think it's going to be Izza and Rocco, perhaps, running down the Mistral straight. 10th and 11th, Izza, closing. Sails on by, down in towards turn 8 and 9, and there's a spoon, he's into 10th. And picks up a 3-second penalty for his pains as well. Rocco there in 11th. Battling further down the field as well. Commentated under pressure. Oh, was pressurising Taneo, and Taneo in turn was pressurising Jeroen as well. I think Rezafai has also got through on Nico in the background as well, so he's up into 18th. Pretty good racing this in LOE Lobby 1. Hopefully you are all enjoying the session so far and enjoying the race. On to lap 18 we go. 2/3 of the way through the race here, and the rest of that leads the way. Lulvacar, though, now applying a bit of pressure. These two are committing to James Head's B-Tech strategy, and that is to go set of hards for a set of soft compounder tyres at the end of this race. They're going to be 2 seconds quicker, but we know from experience around this track that they go off 4-5 laps into the stint, and that will be absolutely painful for Vettel and Lulvacar. They've got to get those tyres up to temperature. It's going to take a lot harder work, I think, for them to get up to temperature as well. And that means Lulvacar there in second is doing a good job at this stage. Connor there in third, Wuta in fourth. As we get to the end of the session, by the way, as we get to the end of this race, calendar will be coming up at the end of this stream. So if you've not caught the calendar so far, Bellowee, I'm going to announce that, of course, at the end of the session. Comment us on the back of Tadeo to the inside line, down the Mistral straight, a little bit of maybe forcefulness there, a little bit of bumping and barging. Taneo weaving, probably saying, what do you do that for? Commentos was entitled, he got the job done, and he's doing his into 15th. Taneo maybe weaving as well, maybe for the tyre attempts. But got moved there by Commentos, he's doing his into 15th, and perhaps he could be a little bit further up the field, because Vettel and Lulvacar stay out another lap. They stay on more, towards the lap 21-22 sort of area. Connor's going to be catching these guys. Connor potentially is going to be on the back in P3 within maybe 3 or 4 laps if Vettel and Lulvacar do not decide to come in the pit lane until, as I say, 22, 23, 24 laps in. But we'll have to wait and see on what will happen as a result of that. Further down the field, Verstappen on the back of Montana, not getting quite close enough. Rocco trying to gain or break the toe to Gary. Didn't work. Gary's a lot quicker than him down the straight. It's Jeroen on the back, comments list 15. Nothing really happening. Maybe the next battle, though, was between these two. These old adversaries from that season. Montana and Verstappen. From the season before, I should say, Montana and Verstappen, because, of course, both were in the title shot in Season 6. Montana, of course, went and won that. Oh, was that? It's gone for a spin. Coming through turn number 6. The Williams is round. Coming through turn 6, he recovers the car, but he has to do a full 360 pirouette just to get back on the track. And there's a down in 17. Look, he's kept the car going in the right direction. Speaking of going in the right direction, though, Gary down the inside of Rocco gets the job done, and Jacob's under pressure from Jeroen, and Jeroen absolutely waltzes around the outside of turn 10. Beautiful stuff by Jeroen. Through turn 9 that was, in fact, at the chicane Nord. Jeroen through and he's into 12. Force off track slightly, but 2 into 1 really doesn't go through that part of the track. Nice move there by Jeroen. He's through and he's into 12. Are the drivers, though, ahead going to come in the pit lane? Vettel and Olvercar? No, is the answer. They're going to go on at least one more lap. On lap 20 out of 27. All building very nicely here at the French Grand Prix in Le Castellet in France. And it's Vettel that leads the way. Olvercar in second. Connor there in third. Then Ruta in fourth. Connor's gained a second over Vettel and Olvercar in the last 2 laps. He's gained around 5/10 per second. And it is going to exacerbate a bit more, so maybe he's going to be catching more like a second if they do not decide to come in the pit lane. Still on board with this battle of Montana, Verstappen, Dillon. 7th, 8th and 9th position. Nothing really happening in terms of the overtaking. They're all running in a big old DRS train at this point. Everyone, by the way, is still going, which is very good stuff to see. As we do report to the end of this race, and of course you do want to complete your full social race or full evaluation race here because it's pre-season. You've got to finish it, otherwise you're going to be ending up maybe in Division 2 next season. As Jeroen on the back of Rocco, both with DRS, both running out of DRS, derating from Jeroen, absolutely sends it on the brakes. Beautiful move again by Jeroen. And Jeroen suddenly becoming the king of France, I think, in terms of overtaking. Jeroen through and he's into 11. Rocco there in 12. The XL man has got a bit of ERS to use up, but he's not going to come back. He's not going to come back at him. But really good battling out on track. Jav saying as well, yeah, Justas won the championship. Olvercar, Vettel continues on. Olvercar into the pit lane though. Where on earth is he going to come out? He potentially could be at the back of the field here. Coming out the pit lane, Olvercar. Going on the set of soft compound tyres. Yeah, Justas won by 12 points last season to Campbell. Went down to the final race of the season. It's a little bit predictable through qualifying, to be honest, with how it might have went, because Justas, I think, got pole. And second, and Campbell was a bit further down. He spun on the first lap, Campbell. And it obviously was on the old layout, the new layout of Abu Dhabi to come this season. Well, the car out the pit lane, he's going to be maybe behind Resify at the end of this lap, because Resify, on that set of fresh medium compounded tyres, luckily for Olvercar though, he's on a set of softs. They will get up to temperature quickly. And that means Olvercar is going to be the quickest man out on track and setting potential fastest laps. And there was a spinner through Sector 1, and that was Nathan, right down at the back of the field. So Nathan right down the back of the field. As Montana is going to try and aim at Dillon in towards the chicane Nord. Not quite close enough. Lap 21 now to 27. Vettel leading the way. Connor in second. Ruta in third. Justas in fourth. Pease in fifth. Dillon, Montana, Verstappen, Gary, Jeroen top 10. Then it's Rocco, J. Cole, Commentated, Taneo, June top 15. Is all the car Resify, Nico and Nathan ran the top 20 drivers who are still continuing in this race. Let me know, by the way, in the comment section how you think the streamers went so far. Brand new setup, of course, running through OBS and capturing the game through Gato, so hopefully coming out crystal clear. We've had no lag so far on the stream either, which is very good. But Verstappen has spun. Verstappen has spun, coming through turn 12 on the inside curb. He was ahead of Montana at this stage, and so does Doom. Not sure if there's an oil slick maybe at the end of turn 12 there. But Doom also follows round, coming through turn 12, and he is round the Spaniard down in 18th. Vettel, though, is about to come out the pit lane, and he's coming out right ahead of Verstappen. Not ideal for Verstappen. Vettel's on a set of soft compound tyres. Look at how much time he's gained, by the way, to Olvercar. Coming out the pits, they were both pretty much side by side. Olvercar took 2 seconds to gain, and that is there for Vettel, and he's ahead of Verstappen. Vettel is ahead of Verstappen. Never thought you'd hear that coming out of my my voice tonight. Vettel and Verstappen, 13th and 14th position at this stage. Luke Etheridge is saying as well, it's good. Can you send the graphics from last season if J. Cole hasn't already? He hasn't, unfortunately. I didn't get provided with the overlay or anything for the LOE logo at the top, but I don't mind. I really don't mind. I'm running on thin ground here. I've only got a track about a calendar, a capture card, and the starting introduction, and that is literally all I'm running on tonight. But more will come, I'm sure, for next week. I will be giving the graphics, the full graphics package, hopefully, and of course, we'll be running maybe even Season 8 thumbnails as well. Connor leading the way for Muta in second. Muta, by the way, has done a very good job, I've got to say, getting out ahead of Justas. He's there in second, and Jav obviously made that prediction from earlier on in the race that the top three wasn't going to change. Well, you're not laughing now, are you? Connor leading for Muta in second, Justas in third, he's there in fourth. I feel like I've just berated with a Nigel Farage quote our Jav there, the Spaniard, in the comment section. Sorry, Jav. But P's there on the back of Justas. 1.1 seconds the gap. Both relentless drivers. Both, I'm sure, going to be entertained with this battle. Justas is on hards. P's on a sort of mediums. Mediums should surely come into play, you would think. Back down to further down the field battles. Commentalist in 11, chasing down J. Cole. J. Cole under pressure, running down. And Jav is saying as well in the comments, I didn't see that one actually, it just came through on my end. Stream has been as smooth as the passing of the Red Sea. Yeah, it's run very, very well. Normally have a few lag issues, but it's only cause there's actually Commentalist is going to get the job done on J. Cole. Bit of hand of rage there from the Brit as he now comes through turn 10 and gets the job done. So the Alpine through on the Red Bull. He's through and he's into 10th, Commentalist. J. Cole there in 11th. I think he'll be happy with that move. Nice job. I think J. Cole might have got a little bit tetchy coming out of turn number 9, and that brought the move for J. Cole to obviously complete. Commentalist to complete that move. He's soon into 10th. Wolvercar on the back of Izza in the background of shot. Both Williamses going at it now. Don't want an Albon and Latifi, hopefully. There's another yellow flag, and that was June round, I think, as well. Wolvercar though down on the inside. Now through Lackham Point at 10, 14 and 15. Tries to go all the way around the outside. Soft combat tyres come into play, and Wolvercar, as if Izza was not breathing out on track. Wolvercar's through, and do you know what? He's going to get 2 for 1, because there's Teneo on the inside line. Wolvercar on the outside, parting the Red Sea moment. Izza goes past as well on the inside. That was insane. Teneo let Wolvercar through, didn't realise Izza was on the inside line, and Izza's got the move done. Teneo is fuming. He's fuming at himself more than anything else, and now he's battling back at Izza. Forces the issue. He shouldn't force the issue. We lost that move fair and square. You should not break on a straight very early. Let your teammate through and then lose a position. Simple as that. Izza through and he's into 15th. And now Wolvercar is attacking Verstappen. Wolvercar is on an absolute mission through this field. He's into 13th now. Down the inside line and towards the chicane. Nord chops off the Alfa Romeo at the last moment and Wolvercar through. And he's into 13th. Carving his way like a knife through butter, the PTR man. Still, on the back, we have battles further up the field, and it's all now hopping on board the Dillon train as Dillon in 5th, Montana in 6th, Jeroen in 7th, Rocco, Gary, Commentalist, J. Cole, Vettel, perhaps Wolvercar, and maybe the rest of the field behind are going to latch on to this Dillon train out on track. Jeroen really tries to move though into the final corner at Montana through Lackham Pont. Connor picked up a 3-second penalty. Crucial for Connor. 3-second penalty on the exit of turn 2, I think that was. And that now means Connor is not going to be winning this race. It looks like Wouter is. At this stage, Pease is within a second as well on Justas. This is all building to an absolute crescendo. This is an evaluation race, by the way. But it has been absolutely unbelievable. We've had clean racing throughout. Everyone has enjoyed a good battle or 2, or 3, or 4, or perhaps 5 towards the end, as Dillon now picks up another penalty. And now Montana is on the back for Jeroen, the man to possibly latch onto the back of Montana. Gary is on the back and on the prowl, on the back of Rocco, running down the straight in towards Le Chicane Nord. The Mercedes and the Red Bull going side by side, down into turn number 8 and 9. Doesn't get the move done. Connor apparently has picked up 2 penalties. He's not, he's actually on 11 seconds worth of penalties. There are the penalties. It's Connor on 11. Pease is on 3, as Dillon's really attacking Montana in towards turn 10 and 11 there. Well, there are the penalties. Pease on 3, Dillon on 6, Jeroen, Rocco, Gary, Commentalist, Vettel, Wolvercar, Verstappen all on 3, Izza on 6, Teneo on 8, Reservoir on 3, Nico on 6, Nathan on 12, and June on 3. Yeah, Pease has got a penalty. That's unfortunate for him, but he is 7 seconds off, I think. 6.8 seconds, I make that out as. Gap's 8 seconds. Pease is going to be ahead of him. Pease is going to be ahead of Connor come to the end of the race, no matter if he stays on the back of Justas or if he overtakes him. He will be there. None of these guys behind are going to be obviously attacking, but they're going to be attacking each other. Onto the final 2 laps we go. Connor leads the way. Connor's pace, though, dropping off on that set of medium compound tyres. And Reuter there in second, doing a very, very good job. Yeah, Connor did not serve his penalty in the pit lane. It normally serves you. I think it's a case of the coding in the game. Serves some people, doesn't serve others. Simple as that. Jeroen on the back, as well as Dylan. On the back of Montana. Maybe a sitting duck down the straight here, down the Mistral straight. Vettel, by the way, has joined this battle as well, down in 12th position. This will be for the final point scoring positions, to be honest, out on track as well. This is going side by side with Verstappen in towards the chicane node. Gets the move done, and Reservoir down the inside of Teneo as well. Nice job there by Reservoir, he's doing into 16th. But Dylan, Jeroen, side by side, forcing into the outside of turn 10. Dylan falls off track there slightly, and now Jeroen absolutely sends it down the inside line, and they both go for a pirouette and a spin. Both of them around. Jeroen forcing the inside line. In the end, he's got to surely give up position. He does. Fair play to them both. Jeroen there and Dylan make contact. And that's unfortunate for them both. But look at who that gives a big advantage to in terms of penalties. Jekyll, who's got none. He's going to be 6th potentially by the end of this race. On to the final lap we go. Connor leads the way by 1.5 seconds from Reuter in second. Justas in third. Front 3 not over and done with because P's on the back of Justas. Not losing any time. There's obviously going to be more battles further down the field. Jeroen is doing Dylan into 11th, and that I think was at turn 1. But now P setting after Justas for 3rd and 4th position. The relentless man under pressure from his fellow relentless man as well, the Ferrari on the back of the AlphaTauri running down the straight. He's not close enough, he's deracing down the straight. Commentated though, going to try and get a run on Gary. These two old rivals from Division 2 last season. Gary and Commentated now running at each other down in towards the chicane node. Gary closing in on Rocco in the meantime as well. Side by side though, further up the field, Pease is going side by side with Justas in towards turn number 10. The AlphaTauri gets clipped on the curb, there's a bit of lag between them both, and now Pease is going to try and go around the outside. Mediums against hard, you know who I'd favour at this point? But Justas absolutely defends for his life. This is for P3, by the way. There's more battles going on in towards turn 10. Gary and Rocco are also going side by side. Coming to the final couple of corners, though. We'll go back on board with the leader. We'll cut back to that in a second. But Connor, around the final corner, on the run to the line. He will not be picking up the race win here because the race win is going to go to Reuter. Connor takes the line to win. But Reuter in the end wins the social race, and Justas and Pease to the line, dragging each other. Justas just defends off Pease. There was no 3-second penalty there. That would have been a fight to the line. Gary and Commentated are side by side. Commentated back in the slipstream, coming back with Gary to the line. Not quite close enough. Rocco jumps ahead of them both, in fact. Commentated in the end in 8th. Vettel in 9th. Oh my goodness me, what an end. Gary in 11th, Dylan in 12th. They round up what would be the point scoring positions. Nico, Nathan and Joom are the final finishers here in the social race in France. In the evaluation race in France, I should say. What a race. Brilliant stuff. Nathan P20 in the end. Driver of the day awarded by the in-game fans is NSX Montana. Montana gets driver of the day. I'd personally give it to Connor, to be honest. Even though he picked up 11 seconds worth of penalties, I think he deserves it. He drove very dominant by Connor. For me, drove the day. Montana drove well. And Wolvercar and Vettel, big shout-outs to them on their debut. Very, very good racing as well from them. As we see the top step of the podium, it is this man here. It is Reuter, the relentless man. He takes P1 out on track. I'm going to go off the podium celebration just because of the flashing there. But there is the full grid order. And it's Reuter out on top. The Dutchman excels out on track and takes the win. From Justas there in second. The defending champ coming well. And Pease in third. He'd be very happy with the result as well. Connor there in fourth. Fast start the race went to him. Montana in fifth. Jekyll there in sixth. Rocco in seventh. Commentated in eighth. Vettel ninth. Jeroen in 10th, Gary in 11th, Dylan in 12th, Wolvercar, Verstappen, Reservoir, Izza, Teneo, Nico, Joom and Nathan are the 20 finishers here tonight. And there are the penalties, by the way, of everything going down on the right-hand side. You can probably see them. But Wita takes the win, Yosas in second, he's in third. Just because I haven't got Discord or anything up, there'll be no interviews here tonight. But I will obviously try and obviously get the interviews through in the future. But fantastic win. Let us have a look though at what is going to be coming up in the next few weeks, because it's going to be a busy few weeks for LOE. And there is the calendar. Now, I've had to put Silverstone in the background just because we're in France tonight. I've had to put Silverstone in the background just so it gives that overlay a little bit nicer. And Bahrain, first round of the championship, is going to come 30th of July. So in 2 weeks' time, we will probably be finishing up in Bahrain. Imola for round 2 of the championship. Then Austin for round 3 and Miami for round 4. The American doubleheader on the 13th and 20th of August. Monza for round 5, and then it is Singapore round 6, Britain round 7, France round 8, Australia round 9, Hungary round 10, then Azerbaijan, Belgium, Austria before the break week for Halloween, Spain after that, and then the final 3 races of the season, which I think are going to be absolute thrillers potentially, Saudi Arabia, Brazil, and Abu Dhabi. And that, if not, Montana has not dominated the racing before then. But that is the full calendar. Abu Dhabi, by the way, coming 2 days before my birthday, which is very nice indeed. But Bahrain, Imola start off the season. And to remind you, of course, what is going to be happening in the coming weeks as well. Well, France obviously tonight, and I need to get rid of the timer. You can still see that on the bottom. And Mexico next week. The Mexican Grand Prix. Going to be a really good track, and do you know what? If it's going to be anything like qualifying, we're going to be absolutely thrilled to bring in the action once again for Lobby 1. The likes of Camel could be returning next week to obviously take part in Lobby 1. I really hope you have enjoyed the stream tonight. Please leave a like, comment, subscribe, tick that notification bell, of course, if you're new. And as always, with LOE, we've got more action to come tonight at half past 8, at 10 past 8 UK time. It is Lobby 2, Comments List and Jess Gamer taking you through that one. And for Lobby 5, it is, I need to get up the message that was sent a little bit early on in terms of the commentators, just so I remember. And it has gone. Hang on, give me a second. It is, oh, hang on. It's totally gone. It's on Twitter anyways. At LOE on Twitter. At League of Europe on Twitter. If you do want to have a look at that in terms of who is going to be obviously competing and playing a part in Lobby 5 as well. But really hope you enjoyed tonight. That is it for me. Thank you so much for watching tonight in LOE. And until next week in Mexico,